right, moving on to Group G. We've got Brazil, who I believe to be good at soccer.
Yeah.
Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon.
All right. So Brazil are the favorites to win the World Cup. 4-1 odds there. That's even lower now. I think a lot of people are betting them. It's down to like 3-1 almost. So they're a big favorite to win the World Cup. So I want to say this is probably the most entertaining group. If you're going to pick one day to watch soccer, whatever day Group G is going on, I would make a point to do it. I think this is in addition to having Brazil, which is a very entertaining, very good team. I'll get to in a second, but these other teams are entertaining in different ways. So Brazil, obviously the greatest nation in the history of soccer. They've won the most World Cups with 5. However, they've not won one since 2002. That's a long time. And since then, they've not finished any better than 4th even. So they're for them, just an intolerable drought here. The Copa America, which is kind of like the Euros of South America, that was played last year. They lost in the final to their rival Argentina, so they didn't even win that. So they're chomping at the bit to bring home a major trophy here. And I'll say, looking at the roster, they are the deserving favorites. They should be the favorite. Every single position, it's either a superstar or a very, very competent player that plays at a big club and has won trophies for that club. So they're loaded at every position. So I will say and just to run through that a little more detail, the defense, solid veteran guys, the midfield, solid veteran guys. Then up top, young, flashy, exciting players. So it's like the perfect blend of everything. Like the spots where you need people to hunker down and play good, responsible soccer, they've got veterans. And then up top where you have fun and just turn loose and let it go, they've got youth. So, yeah, they're built to win this whole thing for sure. Best players from most teams, I've been given 1, at most 2 guys here. I'm going to give you 4 because they're that good. Best player on the team still, even though he's getting a little old, is Neymar. Household name, obviously. He's another guy you've probably heard of, even if you don't watch soccer. And he's the guy I mentioned earlier, talked about Anthony Davis made of glass. That's Neymar. He didn't make it through the World Cup in Brazil in 2014. He's injured every year, misses like months for his club team. But when he's on the field, he is very, very good.
And he's like Davis too, where like not only is he injured a lot, but he also like flops and rolls around and winces a lot too, right?
Fuck. Yes, God, yes. He's the worst at that shit. It's like comical how bad he flops. And he's in a position to get fouled a lot too, because he doesn't just like, if a defender comes to him, he doesn't pass the ball. He tries to go by him. And he's good enough to where he gets by you most of the time. But he gets cut down a lot. He gets legitimately fouled. He's not like he's embellishing, but he gets legitimately fouled a lot because these players that try to dribble past you, the defenders a lot of times will just get frustrated and try to kick them, and like intentionally foul them and kind of send a message like, you're not going to embarrass me and shit. That happens to him a lot. So yeah, he's an exciting player. He does all the tricks, the rainbow flicks, all that shit. If you're going to see any of that, it's going to be him doing it. He's flashy, dribbles past you, can shoot. He's pretty 2-footed as well. He can shoot with his left foot. So yeah, he's one of the best players at this World Cup for sure. Next, Thiago Silva is a center back, just rock solid. He's like 32, I think, but been doing it a long time. One of the best center backs in the world. Allison, goalkeeper, the next player I'll mention. He plays for Liverpool, won the Champions League, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And then Casemiro, defensive midfielder, kind of like we talked about earlier, that guy that before the ball gets to the center backs, he's trying to break up the play, he's trying to intercept it. So I say those players to say they can play defense too. They're not just the Neymars, the Rodrigos, Vinicius Juniors, those like 20-year-old, or Neymar's 30, but those other guys are like 20-year-old, just attacking, exciting players. They've got the veteran solid defensive players too. So they are very, very good. So next we're going to look at Switzerland. They're they're really like the dead opposite of Brazil. They are, and when I said this shit about this group's going to be entertaining, it wasn't because of Switzerland. So just forget about that for 1 second. Switzerland, they have really no superstar players, but they're just so well coached. They're just rock solid in tournaments. In qualifying, they scored 15 goals, only had 2 goals scored against them. They beat Spain and Portugal in the Nations League, which is kind of a minor tournament. In the Euros, they beat France, like I said, and then Spain, you know how good I talked about Spain. They lost to Spain on penalties. So they, despite not having superstar players, they go up against anybody and they give them hell. And in that vein, their best player is just a rock solid, do nothing special, but just be solid center midfielder named Granit Xhaka. Plays for Arsenal, played there a long time. Yeah, just a rock solid team that's going to be hard to play against for anybody. And now let's get back to the entertaining people.
Thank you.
Cameroon. All right, so Cameroon, great African team historically. Let me get the business out of the way here. Their best player is Eric Choupo-Moting. Older guy, striker for Bayern, playing some of the best soccer of his life, though, despite being a little old. He can score goals. And then the young guy, young up-and-coming superstar who's a defensive midfielder but can pass and make assists too, is Zambo Anguissa, Real Madrid guy, obviously good. So now let's get to the drama and entertainment stuff here. So qualifying for the World Cup, a lot of times they'd have a home game that they were supposed to win and they'd fall apart and lose it. And then when they had to go on the road and play a very hard team, like that's going to be tough to win, they'd win that game. So they're winning games they shouldn't, losing games they shouldn't. To qualify for the World Cup, it came down to the last game. They gave up a 118th minute goal, so that's extra time because, you know, soccer is 90 minutes. They gave up a goal in the 118th minute of 120 to go down, looked like they were going to lose. And then the stoppage time, the game went 124 minutes. They scored in the 124th minute to qualify to go to the World Cup. So the highest drama just to get here. Their president of the Football Association, former superstar player Samuel Eto'o, despite Cameroon not being that great, they're going to be doing good to get out of this group. He has demanded he will accept nothing else but a finals appearance here. So the players have all kind of pressure on him. And they may not even be wearing jerseys because Samuel Eto'o inexplicably chose he didn't choose Nike or Adidas or somebody to make the jerseys. He chose some company that nobody's ever heard of. And apparently the jerseys are like falling apart. So which is a shame because they always have the best looking jerseys. If you Google Cameroon jerseys historically, they have the coolest looking jerseys of anybody, usually.
What were his qualifications for leading this operation other than being the best player in their history or whatever?
I think that was probably it.
It's like old Ray Tanner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let me correct myself. Anguissa actually plays for Napoli. He was rumored to go to Real Madrid, but that didn't happen. He plays for Napoli.
Hope he has a jersey there.
Yeah. And finally, more entertainment with Serbia. So they can score, but they can't defend. They give up goals in bunches, but they score them in bunches. You look at their roster. It's a lot of average journeyman, nothing special type players that play in Italy. But up top, they've got legitimate superstars. So all 3 of their best players are going to be playing up top. Dusan Vlahovic plays for Juventus. He's 22, but he's already got just an immense amount of goals in Italy. Just made the move to Juventus for a ton of money. He's a superstar, one of the best players in the tournament. Alexander Mitrovic plays for a smaller team in England, Fulham, but scores a ton of goals. And they're a very good partnership. Mitrovic is a big, strong, physical guy. Vlahovic he's 6'3", so he's big too, but he runs a lot. So you've got the stationary rock guy in Mitrovic, and you got the guy that goes all over the place with Vlahovic. That's a good partnership. And then Dusan Tadic, who plays for Ajax, he's an attacking mid winger type player, and he balances out those other two because he's the creative guy. So you've got like two guys that can score in different ways, and you've got the guy to pass on the ball in Tadic. So just a great group of players to score, but they don't have that on the back end. So that makes it fun.
So who do you have advancing from Group G?
All right, so it's definitely going to be Brazil. And as much as I want to pick one of the entertaining teams, I've got to go with Switzerland. They're just too solid. One of these teams that can't defend, they're going to get their goal against them, and they're not going to give up goals no matter who they're playing. So Switzerland is just too solid. I hate it because I'd rather the exciting team go through, but yeah, Switzerland is just too solid.